Hello, it's Emma here again, and this time I'm going to have a talk with you about MVQ units, and those are the practical units where you're showing your skills as a pharmacy technician. One question we often get asked is what makes good evidence, and that's the purpose of this video, is to give you some information so that you can write the best evidence that you can present to your assessor. So you're going to gather evidence of your skills doing various tasks in the pharmacy. These tasks are listed in the assessment criteria, so use your assessment plan and they'll give you a good idea of the range of things you're likely to cover. And you show how you do these tasks by presenting evidence to your assessor. There's a number of different types of evidence that you can use. It could be an activity report, and this is usually a written account of something you did. It will be a specific scenario or occasion, and you'll go through step by step telling the assessor what you did, what happened, the questions you asked, the responses you got, and how they changed what you then did next. It's a good idea to try and link everything you do with the reason why you do it. Maybe there's legislation, maybe there's guidance, and that'll help you show that you can use the knowledge you have and how it changes the things you do. A reflective account is another type of evidence, and this is usually a bit more general. It might be your thoughts on something, it might be the overview of a policy or a procedure, and it's generally something that you've done on your own rather than a task within the pharmacy. Then there's the witness testimony. This is often written by somebody else, so it'll be written by your witness, and it's their account of what you did. Could be a pharmacist or a technician that you were working with that day. Doesn't have to be your tutor, but it will be an account and it will give the details of step by step what they saw you do in a particular scenario. Another type of evidence is an observation. Again, this is written by somebody else and it's their account of what you did. In this case, it's slightly different. Usually it's planned, so you would arrange for your witness and yourself to concentrate on one particular task. Could be taking in the prescription. Your witness, the pharmacist or technician, must have read the expert witness induction and completed the declaration form. So you'll know what you're doing and you'll have designed your observation to cover specific units or parts of units, and they'll be helping your assessment plan to help you design your observation. Next is a recorded discussion. Again, we'll need to have some of this for every unit, and this is a recorded discussion between the trainee and the assessor, so it's not something you need to arrange with your witness. Just be prepared to do most of the talking. The planning stages beforehand will make sure that you know exactly what you're going to be talking about. You can have time to prepare it, know what you're going to say, and your witness will guide you through whatever it is that you're discussing, whichever units you want to cover. We have simulation evidence, and this is where we use a false situation to provide evidence for you. It's often used where you can't get the real opportunity in your day-to-day role, maybe health and safety or extemporaneous preparations, because they just don't occur that often. Scenarios and examples will be provided for you. The assessment plan will have these, so you'll have total guidance on what you need to do. Another type of evidence is the accreditation of prior learning. You may have previous qualifications that cover the same criteria or units. Speak to your centre or your assessor for advice if you think you have these. It may depend on when the units were done previously, so always ask for advice. The last type of evidence we tend to use is questioning and answers. You'll have questions set by the assessor, and these will just need a short answer, possibly to link a task you've done to a policy or a procedure. So what is good evidence? Examples to pick. These will be included in your assessment plan. They'll give you some guidance, but obviously it will depend on your role as to the best ones to use. Make sure you use the word I. This qualification is about you, it's about what you can do, and if your assessor can't tell from your write-up what you did or the role you took in that particular scenario, they can't give you the credit for it. So write about what you did. Think that your assessor knows very little about what happens in your pharmacy. They need to be able to build a mental picture of what you did, so make sure you include those important details. Anything that's relevant, really. So, for example, it might be raining outside. If you were writing about dispensing a prescription, that might not be so relevant. But if you're writing about health and safety and people's umbrellas and boots tracking in water onto the floor, then it is a relevant detail. So just think about the context you're writing in. Refer to SOPs, company policy, legislation and guidance, because this will always show how you connect what you do to why you do it. Include some supporting evidence as well, because pictures can, like they say, can speak 1,000 words, and it'll save the amount you need to write. Make sure you have a witness. Your evidence does need to be witnessed. We need someone who can corroborate your account. So just make sure that you've got the details of someone who can do that for you. And when it comes to selecting your examples, try and include a range of situations. Aim to cover the bulk of the criteria for this particular unit using full descriptions on maybe 4 or 5 reports. And then pick up highlights of other examples to fill in the gaps. They might be a bit more specific and a bit shorter. The last few points can often be covered using some questions set by an assessor or during a professional discussion. So don't think you have to find a real example for absolutely everything, but the bulk of it will come from your day-to-day work. And finally, how much evidence do you need to provide? The minimum requirements will be shown in your assessment plan. The number of assessment criteria, you'll need to cover all of them at least once, but some of them may be more often, and these will be the things that you do most frequently. The number of range situations, again, this will fit your workplace. Not everybody comes into contact with the same types of customers or the same types of other healthcare professionals, so we'll tailor that to suit you. But use the assessment plan to guide you because the information is there. You will always need a direct observation and you'll always need a professional discussion for every unit. But these are often covering more than one unit at a time, so don't think you need a separate one for each unit. That's not the case. If you have any questions about evidence, then always speak to your assessor or those of us at the centre, because we'll be able to help you. Thanks a lot. So selecting your examples. Aim to choose a range of situations that you come in contact with every day. Try and cover the bulk of the criteria using full descriptions on maybe 4 or 5 reports, and then pick others, just highlights of other examples to fill in the gaps. The last few points of a unit can often be covered using some questions set by the assessor or during the professional discussion, so don't feel you have to try and find a live example of everything, but the bulk of it must come from your day-to-day work. For each unit there'll be a minimum number of requirements. There'll be a number of assessment criteria and you will need to cover these at least once, many of them more often, but it's stuff you do every day, so that shouldn't be a problem. There'll be a number of range statements, and those that fit your workplace are the ones that you should cover. Not everyone will come into contact with the same sorts of situations. Use the assessment plan to guide you and also speak to your assessor if you have any questions. Every unit does need to have some form of direct observation and also professional discussion, but often we can plan these so that each one covers many more than just one unit, so you won't need a separate one for each one. If you have any questions at all, speak to your assessor or us here at the centre and we'll be able to guide you. Thank you.